In the tranquil heart of Zen Buddhism lies a profound teaching. The path to enlightenment begins with loving ourselves. This journey of self-love is not just a fleeting moment of self-appreciation, but a lifelong commitment to understanding and nurturing our true essence. This is not a selfish love, but a deep and compassionate acceptance of who we truly are. It involves embracing our strengths and weaknesses, our joys and sorrows, and everything that makes us uniquely human. It is about recognizing our inherent worthiness, flaws and all. By acknowledging our imperfections, we allow ourselves to grow and evolve, becoming more attuned to our inner selves. Self-love in the Buddhist tradition is the foundation for inner peace and genuine happiness. It is the bedrock upon which we build a life of contentment and fulfillment. We cultivate self-love by nurturing our body, mind, and spirit. This means taking care of our physical health, engaging in activities that stimulate our minds, and finding practices that nourish our souls. We practice mindfulness to become aware of our thoughts and feelings without judgment. This awareness helps us to understand our inner landscape and respond to it with compassion. This allows us to meet ourselves with kindness and understanding. By treating ourselves with the same gentleness we would offer a dear friend, we create a safe space for healing and growth. When we can accept ourselves fully, we open the door to transformation and growth. This acceptance is not about complacency, but about recognizing our potential and striving to become the best version of ourselves. True self-love is a journey, not a destination. It is a continuous process of learning, unlearning, and relearning about who we are and what we need to thrive. It is an ongoing practice of cultivating compassion, forgiveness, and acceptance towards ourselves. Each day offers a new opportunity to practice self-love and deepen our connection with our inner being. As we learn to embrace our imperfections, we begin to see the beauty in our wholeness. Our flaws become part of our unique tapestry, adding depth and richness to our lives. This inner transformation radiates outwards, influencing our relationships and our interactions with the world. When we love ourselves, we create a ripple effect of positivity and compassion that touches everyone around us. There once was a young monk who was deeply troubled by his reflection. Every time he looked in the mirror, he saw only his flaws and imperfections. He became consumed by self-doubt and dissatisfaction, unable to find peace. One day, the young monk went to his teacher for guidance. "Master," he said, "I am tormented by my reflection. I see only my shortcomings, and it fills me with despair. How can I find peace and acceptance?" The wise teacher smiled gently and said, "Come with me." He led the young monk to a still pond and said, "Look into the water." The monk gazed at his reflection, his face etched with worry. "What do you see?" asked the teacher. "I see myself," replied the monk, "and all my imperfections." The teacher nodded and said, "Now, look again." This time, he instructed the monk to focus not on the reflection itself, but on the water holding the reflection. The monk, curious and eager to understand, shifted his gaze from the image on the surface to the water beneath. The monk looked closer, noticing the stillness of the pond and the way it reflected the sky and trees with perfect clarity. He observed how the water, undisturbed and calm, mirrored the world around it without bias or distortion. "The water does not judge what it reflects," the teacher explained. "It simply accepts everything as it is, without preference or aversion." The monk pondered this, realizing the profound wisdom in the teacher's words. The water's acceptance was unconditional, embracing all that came into its view. "This is how you must learn to see yourself," the teacher continued, "with the same unwavering acceptance, without judgment or resistance. Embrace all parts of yourself, the light and the shadow, with the same unwavering acceptance." The monk felt a shift within him, a new understanding beginning to take root. The monk was struck by the simplicity of the teaching. It was not about changing who he was, but about accepting himself fully. He realized that his suffering stemmed from his own judgment and resistance. By constantly criticizing himself, he had created a barrier to his own peace. He had been so focused on his flaws that he had failed to see the beauty of his own being. The reflection in the water was not flawed. It was simply a part of the whole. From that day forward, the monk made a conscious effort to practice self-acceptance. He began to see himself through the lens of the calm, accepting water. He learned to look in the mirror and see beyond his perceived imperfections. Each glance became an opportunity to embrace his true nature. He embraced his wholeness, flaws and all, and in doing so, he discovered a profound sense of peace and liberation. The journey of self-acceptance had transformed his life, allowing him to live with a newfound sense of freedom and joy. Section 4. Loving the garden within, nurturing ourselves. The story of the monk and the mirror offers a powerful lesson in self-love. It reminds us that true happiness comes from accepting ourselves unconditionally, just as we are. When we learn to embrace our imperfections, we free ourselves from the shackles of self-judgment and open ourselves up to the transformative power of self-love. Practicing self-love is like tending to a beautiful garden. Just as a garden needs nourishment, care, and attention to thrive, so too does our inner world. We must water the seeds of our strengths, weed out negative self-talk, and create a fertile ground for growth and happiness. This means being kind to ourselves, even when we make mistakes. It means celebrating our accomplishments, no matter how small. It means taking the time to nurture our physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Section 5. Imperfections embrace, finding beauty in authenticity. One of the most important aspects of self-love is embracing our imperfections. We are all works in progress, constantly evolving and learning. Our flaws are not something to be ashamed of, but rather an integral part of what makes us unique and beautiful. Imagine a world where every flower looked exactly the same. It would be a monotonous and lifeless place. It is our imperfections that give us character, depth, and individuality. They are the brushstrokes that make up the masterpiece of our lives. When we learn to embrace our imperfections, we give ourselves permission to be authentically ourselves. We no longer feel the need to hide behind masks or pretend to be something we are not. This authenticity is incredibly liberating and allows us to connect with others on a deeper, more meaningful level. Section 6. Kindness in failure, a soft place to land. In this chapter, we delve into the importance of self-compassion and the gentle art of treating ourselves with kindness, especially during times of failure and setbacks. Another crucial aspect of self-love is treating ourselves with kindness, especially when we experience setbacks or failures. It's easy to be kind to ourselves when things are going well, but the true test of self-love comes when we face challenges. Life is a journey filled with both triumphs and challenges. Each path we take is unique, and along the way, we encounter various obstacles that test our resilience and strength. It is inevitable that we will stumble and fall along the way. These moments of falling are not signs of weakness, but opportunities for growth and learning. How we treat ourselves during these difficult times makes all the difference. Taking a moment to reflect and meditate can help us gain perspective and approach our struggles with a clearer mind. If we berate ourselves with negative self-talk and criticism, we only add to our suffering. This harsh inner dialogue can be detrimental to our mental and emotional well-being. Instead, we must learn to meet ourselves with the same compassion and understanding that we would offer a loved one. Embracing self-compassion allows us to heal and move forward with a renewed sense of purpose. Imagine a child learning to walk. Each step they take is a testament to their determination and courage. They will inevitably fall countless times before they are able to walk steadily on their own. These falls are not failures, but essential parts of their learning process. As parents, we would never scold a child for falling. Instead, we offer encouragement and support, knowing that each fall brings them closer to mastering the skill. We would encourage them to get back up and try again. This same principle applies to how we should treat ourselves in moments of failure. We should treat ourselves with the same kindness and patience. By doing so, we create a soft place to land, a sanctuary of self-love and acceptance that nurtures our growth and resilience. Section 7. The gift of presence. Prioritizing self-care. Self-care is not selfish. It is an essential act of self-love. When we prioritize our own well-being, we are better equipped to care for others and show up fully in the world. Self-care can take many forms, from simple acts of kindness towards ourselves to more structured practices. One of the most powerful forms of self-care is mindfulness. By bringing our attention to the present moment without judgment, we cultivate a sense of peace and acceptance. Mindfulness allows us to connect with ourselves on a deeper level and develop a greater sense of self-awareness. Other forms of self-care might include spending time in nature, pursuing hobbies and interests, or simply taking some time for quiet reflection. It is important to find what nourishes your mind, body, and spirit, and make it a priority in your life.